There's this JAC thing that we have all been talking about, me and Eric Ryan and all the guys there, about maybe trying to do something this summer at the Youngstown Foundation Amphitheater where we try to reunite a bunch of old bands from the 80s, like Graphic Pink, get that, like reunion shows, but not just one band.
The Penn, Ohio Backyard Bungalow Radio Show, brought to you by G&J Fencing.
I missed you too.
I'm not as loud. Can you make me a little louder? I mean,
so your volume is right.
Okay, is that
there?
A little more?
Sure.
Hello? No, it didn't go up.
Okay, it's this one.
Oh, there we go. Ooh, there we go. Much better. Wait, just tiny bit. Okay.
You like having yourself in your own head.
Oh, I am always in my own head. As a matter of fact, I think my biggest problem is I'd like to hear myself in my own head to the point where I don't pay attention to anything else around me. It's a tunnel vision that annoys the hell out of my wife.
You and I actually have, we have the same mental conditioning.
It's terrible. Well, you know what? I look at it a lot with the fact that I have been self-employed. The Simply Ed thing is I'm by myself. I go to my gig, I set up, and I'm in my own little world, and I do my show. And even though I'm in the public and on stage and performing and emceeing and doing everything I do, it's still me. It's all just me. And that ego thing has driven me for years to the point where that's one of the reasons I think I became a big part of my alcoholism and, the recovery that I went through. It's all ego.
I completely understand.
Ego. And it's like, and it makes you selfish.
So, past relationships, my whole life is a testament to great attempts and failure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure all of ours are.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it hits a little bit closer to home. But I have tried to explain this to people my whole life, and they misinterpret. It is ego, I guess. I don't know. I struggle with this all the time. But I've spent my entire life pretty much making a living being me.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
What you're saying. And so it gets misinterpreted as being narcissistic or really egocentric. And I'm like the complete opposite of that. I love this. I love a controlled environment. I love a studio. I love a microphone, and I can focus my thoughts. And I guess there's an ability, and people have enjoyed listening to me over the years. And so I've gotten comfortable with that.
Right.
Now I keep playing with the idea of adding video. And this just frightens the living daylights out of me.
Well, you're a handsome man. You won't.
It has nothing.
You won't look bad on video.
It has absolutely nothing to do with that as much as it's a vulnerability thing.
Okay.
I just don't like it. It took me years to try and learn. Well, I think I've pretty much gotten pretty good at it, but to listen to my own voice, because I do my own editing, and then you have to listen to yourself in like the third person.
Right.
You have to separate yourself from the voice.
Sure.
Or the technique or whatever. And that took me the longest time to learn and to get over. And it's all based in insecurity. And now the idea of me getting used to seeing myself on a video, and it may never happen. I don't know. Well, it probably will. But
well, I don't remember ever really being recorded.
You've always wanted to do radio.
Yeah.
I know you have.
Well, I know
We've
that.
talked about it over the years.
But there's one thing to do it. I mean, I would have loved to have gotten involved in that. But I'm talking about where you do something and then you have to go back and listen to it. I was scared when we did our first podcast. I was scared to death to listen to it because I know what my voice sounds like in my head, but what does my voice sound like to everybody else? And when I listened to our first podcast, I got to hear what everyone else hears.
I so appreciate you saying that and being honest about it, because that tends to be the experience every time I bring somebody in and sit them down. And I knew you'd be a natural. I've known you, so I knew you would. This was also the perfect format for you and I to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
Over the years of my radio career, I have been at many times partnerless.
True.
And you start kicking around ideas because I like to work as a team, and your name and the idea of you coming up and working with me, and I think you and I've talked about it a couple of times, but then the radio environment is its own thing, and I'm so glad that never happened. I'm glad you never went down those roads. I'm glad that you're coming at this now this way.
Yeah, well,
I'm
I
happy
think
to have you along.
I've always wanted to be in front of an audience. I mean, I did children's theater as a youth, and the public school I went to in Youngstown had a great theater program. Starting in like the 4th grade, I was the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, and then I got to sing Edelweiss and our Sound of Music production when I was in the 5th grade, and then my voice changed and I lost my soprano, and this all started coming out.
I was a dragon in 5th grade.
Oh.
And my dad, being an art teacher and everything, made my costume.
Oh, I bet you that was fantastic.
And I remember the dragon head because it fit right over top of my head, and it was bigger than my head and everything else. And once I put that tube over my head, but I knew that I was a dragon. That was the first time that I really ever, especially in public, did a character voice.
Oh.
And I was hooked.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately started looking. Then, of course, Ray Stevens came along and stuff like The Streak. And I love doing that. They call him The Streak.
Yeah, well, that's why I got hooked, because the first role I had in theater in the 4th grade was the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, and that is all
the best part, by the way.
That's the perfect part for me.
Yes. Yeah.
It was perfect.
You are a natural.
She couldn't have cast me. Mrs. Mesack, I had a big crush on her, by the way. I think that was when I first got my first boner.
You understand the name and what you just implied.
It was her.
Fits together beautifully.
It was her. So I had a big crush on her, and she just adored me. And I when you were in a small public school, and there's only a limited amount of kids in your grade, there's only a few people that you're going to be able to pick out to be in a play.
Right.
And I was like, if you want to go back even farther, in kindergarten, I'm not very coordinated. Kindergarten, I could not figure out how to skip. I could only gallop. So when we had a parent-teacher day, and we had to skip in a big circle as part of this little production our teacher did, and Mrs. Adams, I remember all these people. I had to be the last person in the line because I couldn't skip, and it was heartbreaking, and it destroyed me.
I could see it.
I mean, I couldn't get it. I could not figure out how to skip.
Yep.
I can do it now, but that doesn't matter anymore. But then my mother teaches me how to read before 1st grade. So I go to 1st grade, and Mrs. Bradbury, my 1st grade teacher, she's trying to teach a room of 15, 20 kids how to read, and like beginning reading stuff. And I'm sitting there going, and I'm like banging stuff out and throwing in. I got so annoying to her because I knew the material already. I already knew how to read, and I was like the only kid in my class that knew how to read in 1967 or whatever. And I don't know why the other 15 or 20 kids in my class, their parents never taught them how to read, but my mother did. And so I got in so much trouble because I couldn't sit still because I knew all the material. My Mrs. Bradley, I got to sit in the back of the class for the whole year because I was so annoying. And then it just that ball just rolled all the way through high school.
I learned how to read very early. Same thing.
Yeah.
But that's where it ended. I can't spell.
Oh.
I can't do math.
Oh. I'm so sorry about that.
I struggle. I still
so
count
sorry.
on fingers and toes.
I know.
Memorization, I would have never been a great actor unless it was improv. I can improv.
I have some issues with memorization as well, but learning, I'd love to. I definitely had a hunger to learn. Somehow, I lost it around my senior year of high school. And I think a lot, and they talk about trauma and how events in people's lives change them, oh God, astronomically. And I know that my parents, when my dad left my mom when I was 16-ish, junior year of high school, everything changed. All that drive that I had and all that, the fun, the great life that I had up until that moment, everything just shattered. Mm-hmm. And then I went down a different path where I didn't give a shit. And I started to make a lot of bad choices. But my talent or my abilities as an audio engineer and being kind of funny and not being afraid to be up in front of an audience kept me afloat enough that I didn't destroy my life and end up in a gutter. So, it is what it is.
We've seen us at our best, and we've seen each other at
our
worst.
We have, haven't we? You've really seen some bad sides of me.
Oh, same side, same thing here.
I know.
Same thing here. It's funny because two things I wanted to open this particular program, and talking about. Number one is how much I appreciate you and I we don't talk like 15 times a week.
No.
In fact, there's been periods of our life where we go through months and haven't spoken, but we just have that kind of friendship. And so months ago, I made a decision to drop my cell phone. I was just too connected. I'm way too connected with technology already, and especially at my age. And text messaging, something had to go.
Sure.
So I made that decision. And everybody in the world has had a problem. Because all of a sudden now I'm not accessible. Well,
right.
I have a landline.
Okay.
And I love phone calls.
Sure.
And so when things are going on and things are happening in your life and things have to get rescheduled, when you actually take a moment out of your day to pick up the phone and call me, and then we have just a quick conversation, man,
it's great, isn't it?
I so don't miss texting like that. And I've had issues with other folks where I try to explain it's really, really difficult for me to do business texting. It's really great for who, what, where, when, how. But when even how, I mean, really, a text message and then a phone call is how you do things.
Sure.
So along those same lines, just before you got here, I got another call from a high school buddy of mine, Daryl. Now, Daryl, I've talked about Daryl on this program before because I actually mentioned his wife, and I forgot to mention. Well, I didn't mention Daryl, so it kind of reset the pecking order in his home. So I wanted to, not that I'm purposely making a point of mentioning Daryl by name, but I just want you to know that Daryl, you are now even in your home.
There you go.
But Daryl called me, and I always appreciate it because he travels a bit for his work. And so if he has a moment or if I'm on his mind, he'll pick up the phone, and I help kill a little bit of time while he's driving. But he just wanted to call and talk about the podcast. And the first thing out of his mouth is, he goes, okay, I want to know, when's the next show with you and Ed? When are you? I said, GOGO Bungalow Radio. And he says, dude, I never in a million years thought that it would interest me. But he goes, especially when I'm driving, he goes, I miss it. He goes, one day I listened to all four of them back to back.
Oh, that was nice.
And he goes, and I never thought, he goes, I don't know Ed from anybody. And he goes, I've known you my whole life, but he just was very complimentary, likes our conversations, and finds you really, really interesting in how very calming you are.
Ooh.
In your presentation, and how you speak, and that you're a very centered person. Then I laughed.
Centered?
Well, you are. And we talked about our past.
You should go to my OnlyFans page then. Mama.
Jeez, I don't even know about this.
I lower my voice another octave for that one.
Is this some sort of this coming out of a? Have you got an OnlyFans page?
Yeah, it's all about elbow fetishes. I have one elbow that's pointier than the other, and I like to compare them on camera, and it's soothing. I'm sorry. No, just
okay.
kidding.
Wonder if I opened up a OnlyFans page and just read the phone book.
I don't know.
I wonder if
it depends on how you decided to dress.
No, I just audio. It'd just be a curtain, maybe cigarette smoke from behind a blue background and a blacked out.
All right,
and just read the phone book.
Yeah, but what you do is you just slide your foot out and just keep a couple of toes out and get those toe fetish people to subscribe.
Are there really many old man toe fetishes? I'm sure there are.
The foot, yeah. I don't want to get into foot
Get
fetish.
into some of those.
No, we can't talk about feet because my wife, if I touch my wife with my feet, she loses her mind. She hates feet. And I love feet. And my wife rubs me with her feet when we're laying in bed.
And
like,
you like it?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I love it. And then if I try to do it, there's get those things away from me. So, yeah, but to each his own. Mm-hmm. To each his own.
So, anyway, Daryl wanted to know when our next show is. So, here it is.
And here it is.
And we've already, several of the things that he and I were talking about we've already kind of started alluding to.
There's a lot of alluding.
So I want to show you something.
Okay.
One of the things I want to start doing on this program every week, since I do the music podcast.
Yes. Which is wonderful, by the way, and
Thank
people
you.
should listen to it because
you say that
I
appreciate
you
it.
find these nuggets of local talent in between Pittsburgh and Cleveland and even a little outside that area, but you find these nuggets of different styles of music that aren't appreciated in the genre of the Gen Zs with all their hip hop and Dua Lipa stuff. So
when I sit here and visualize what my audience would be and the little bit of interaction that I have with people that are actually listening to it, it's really the late 30s and up crowd.
Sure.
Not to mention, I really want to go after that hip geriatric crowd.
Hey, they're out there.
Well, that's us.
60's the new 40,
So, I know what my target is, but
Sure.
I'm just going to keep. But this week, first of all, again, we've talked about Big Rail Brewing. Big Rail Brewing over here in Grove City, we've got to go see. I'm so impressed with the amount of really cool shows that they're bringing, and they're getting ready to open up a building over there. I haven't been over since the fall, so I need to go check it out. But here's one. It's coming the West Side Bowl. So I've been following this group. They're from Russia.
Oh, they're the ones that put the videos up on the screen
yeah.
and do all this like old stuff, a lot of black and white.
Messer Chops.
I see that. I saw the ad on Facebook the other day.
And of course, you see, my
Your deep Russian roots?
my crush on Betty Page.
Oh, yes.
I've liked Betty Page since I was
I understand.
young.
Yeah, she's got that look. Oh my God, her hair and everything.
Oh, but this show is so much fun. So it's that surf zombie,
Right.
gothic Billy, rock and roll stuff.
Very nice.
So that's my big pick of the shows right now. I think it's coming up February 2nd, if I remember correctly. Probably ought to pull it up here and make sure I'm not giving out the wrong.
One of these days I'm going to get to West Side Bowl for a show. It's just so hard for me. I'm working 6 nights a week. And then now, just like there's all kinds of schedule changes and all kinds of other stuff.
I was with a band that performed. Well, actually, it was Juvenile Characteristics that I've done on this show. And
Yes.
I used to do sound for. And we did a show at West Side Bowl before COVID in the basement.
Yes. In that small room, yeah.
Yeah, which was just an absolute blast.
Yeah. I like it down there because it's tight and you put 7,500 people down there and it's like a little mini rock concert because everyone's shoulder to shoulder. It's just people are getting sweaty and it's a low ceiling and it's just nice.
Which brings me to this other topic, and that is, part of me wants to go out and see a lot of bands. I'm promoting them. That's all I'm basically doing. I'm using music as a way of promoting the Penn, Ohio Valley. And
Sure.
And basically this all stems from a root of, after 40 years in radio, the number one question I was always, or not even question, the number one comment that I always heard was, oh, there's nothing ever to do around here.
And that is absolutely false.
And so that's all I'm doing, is picking out an area and playing music from all kinds of different venues and just trying to show people that, hey, and present it in a music format that's pleasing.
Oh, yeah. From Beachland Ballroom all the way down to Pittsburgh, there's tons of venues. Kent and Akron and Canton and Youngstown. Like West Side Bowl's doing amazing things with bringing in acts. They're like Cedars 2.0, you know. It's fantastic.
And, well, my two favorite venues right now in our immediate area are West Side Bowl, and then that's kind of the alternative route,
right,
although they do a little bit of everything.
Right.
And then you've got this whole Americana scene that's
right.
going out here at this Big Rail Brewing, because
right.
they're bringing in touring and, I mean, really working great acts.
Right.
By the way, Messer Chups is coming to West Side Bowl. It is February 2nd.
Very nice.
So, and I highly recommend. That would be just a fun show.
Absolutely.
I just don't have the energy to go out a whole bunch of nights. I'll pick a show, I'll pick an event here and there, and I'll go see it.
Yeah, when's the last time you've been to one of my karaoke shows?
Well, actually, it's funny. Beth Ann and I almost came to Tiger's Table.
Oh, very nice.
And the way it all worked out, I think it was best that we didn't. But maybe this next time, I've been looking at it. She likes to sing, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And she's got a nice voice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'll be back there the first Saturday in February. I'll be back. And then I've got my new Friday night show that I'm starting in a week and a half.
Okay.
Well, actually, 8 days now that I think about it.
So we're going to dive into your karaoke world in a minute.
All right.
In the meantime, though, finishing my thought.
Oh, yeah.
Because or I'll lose it, is I'd really like to find somebody or a couple that aren't necessarily partiers, that want to go out and see shows and basically represent what we're doing here. That they could maybe work into a blog on their own,
okay,
and shoot some video,
right?
And like the Messer Chup show, which I'm on. I want to go. I'd kind of like to go see that. But say it's a show like that or something going on at Big Rail Brewing that I don't want to go to. I'd like to find another teammate. So in your travels and in your...
I'll have to look into that.
Think about it a little bit.
I actually have a couple I can probably discuss that with, depending on how their work schedules are going with their jobs. But I definitely know a couple that... I think Ashley would definitely be interested. I don't know about her partner.
Or even a little band of a few people that want to do this and be and not to mention too, it'd be fun if they had a personality and want to have some fun and come in and sit down and actually talk with us about some of these things. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we're gonna be going to some place, and there's the whole thing you and I are gonna do, because we're gonna get geared up here before you know it and go out and do some things live. Do this show live.
I'm looking forward to that.
I've got a lot of interest in that. I don't know about midget wrestling yet. Everything's been going crazy with the rodeo, and they're busy as all get out.
I understand.
But I'll let you know here. And not to mention, too, it is a Friday night.
That's
I have the date wrong.
Okay. Ooh.
But I'll let you know.
We'll figure it out.
So karaoke shows, you've had a lot going on. So you're getting ready to shift. You've been years and years and years at one of my favorite haunts over in Austintown, and that is the Ice House.
A lot of great years there.
I've got a lot of stories about the Ice House.
A lot of great years.
And so this is going to be your last Friday night there.
Yeah, it hasn't been clicking for quite a while, and it's we're not going to get into all the particulars of why and how this evolved, but I mean, a lot of the gigs that I have had for more than 10 years at a time. For one reason or another, they run their course.
Sure.
I mean, Irish Bob's ran its course when the south side of Youngstown started getting crappy.
Right.
And we had a Monday night, one night, where two girls got mugged walking to their car downhill on a dark street that they shouldn't have parked on anyway. But then all the college kids stopped coming, and Irish Bob's died within a month. Sir Bentley's, where I used to be at on Wednesdays 25 years ago, packed every Wednesday to the gills, people waiting in line to get in. And then on a Monday night, I was there on Wednesdays, but on a Monday night, a couple gets out of their car to go inside to watch Monday Night Football, and they get mugged, and they shoot the husband. The wife's pregnant. He dies, and all they got was like maybe $20 out of his wallet. And then Sir Bentley's went down the toilet in a week. No one wanted to go there.
You're the one that I want.
Yeah,
we just wanted to sing Grease tunes.
I know. And so every gig has an end story, and Ice House has its own end story that like I said, I don't want to get into, but it's time to find some new blood. And I did something crazy, and I started putting out little feelers over the last 2 weeks to a number of bars, and I focused on the south side of Youngstown, where I got that was the roots of my karaoke show.
You know what?
When I first started.
Hold that thought, because I want you to continue. But you know what just occurred to me?
What?
I haven't had a tour of, even though I worked there and lived there for years, I haven't been back and had a real tour of Youngstown and the area, our old haunts, and what is going on, what's changed, what's gone downhill, what's coming back. I haven't done any of that in probably 12, 14 years.
You don't want to.
You don't think?
Well, here, I don't want to get in. I don't want to start knocking Youngstown, but it's like I know they are trying to revitalize downtown, and they're doing a fantastic job trying to get more people downtown, and they've cleaned up downtown Youngstown with the help of the Youngstown Foundation Amphitheater and the Cavelli Center and bars that have opened down there, and they've cleaned up Federal Street, made it more of a walkway instead of a causeway for automobiles, and they're doing incredible things, and they do a lot of stuff in the summer to bring people downtown and festivals and all the different ethnicities. God, I can't believe when I can't get a word right. That's all right. That's age. That's age. So
ethnicities. I'm not saying it right either. Doesn't matter.
That's going to bother me for the next half hour. I'm gonna Google it, and they're gonna make Siri pronounce it back to me. But the fringe areas, the outside areas of Youngstown, the south side, the west side, the east side, where places where I got my start, Irish Bob's and the Briars, and those areas have deteriorated to the point where some of those bars might still be open, but nobody wants to go there, just out of fear. And it's tough. Oh wait, we're gonna pronounce it. Here we go.
Ethnicity.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Collins. Okay, ethnicity. Yeah, they do all the Italian fests and
the perception is things are just rocking and rolling. Rib Fest is doing great.
Yeah, and no. There's a lot of great things going on, but I'm talking about the fringe areas, like where all the local bars were, like on South Avenue,
which is
Lothian,
leading
and
us
Mahoning
to
Avenue. I mean, West Side Bowl does a great job. The area where West Side Bowl is located is not one of the best parts of Youngstown. It's not the worst, but they have a very well-lit parking lot. They do security. They are doing all the things possible to make you feel safe when you want to go to that side of town.
I've been there several times,
and it's great.
And every time I'm over West Side Bowl, I feel safe.
And that's one of the reasons I did what I did. I put out feelers to some bars that I know that are doing well on the south side of Youngstown, and I contacted a few of them via Facebook and said, "Would you be interested in a Friday night karaoke show?" I'm putting some feelers out. I'm currently at the Ice House, and I'm considering ending that run. And a bar got back to me, and the wildest thing of wildest things is it's called T&J's Brick House. But for those of you out there that might be listening to this show that know me and know my past, that is that used to be Toey's Tavern, where
for years.
For years on Saturday nights. I did some Wednesdays there before I got my Salty Grog gig. But it's Saturday nights at Toey's Tavern for years and years and years. back in my crazy wild days where
I was looking at some pictures because that place, I remember it used to be just the typical, like, it felt like a steelworkers bar.
Yeah.
A lot of linoleum.
Yeah.
And I looked at pictures. They've done a really nice job. They really updated it.
It's beautiful inside. I'm looking forward to.
So I wonder if it's going to feel the same way, or will the environment completely change it?
No, it's going to be a lot different because first of all, where I'm going to be setting up is on the opposite side of the building. I used to set up in between the two bathrooms on the back of the room. Now I'm going to be at the front where my back faces Midlothian and facing the bar and the bathrooms now. So that's going to be big, but it's just going to be the fact just getting off of that exit of 680, coming up Midlothian and pulling into that parking lot. That's going to be shocking enough because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come flooding back.
Speaking of old karaoke stories, so Beth Ann and I here a couple of weeks ago decided we wanted a really good sub in the best place in Western Pennsylvania in Mercer County to get the best submarine sandwich is to go to Sharpsville, PA, and you go to Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
Never heard of it, but thank you.
Dude.
Really?
Trust me. It's been there forever.
Okay.
It's just outstanding. One of these days, one of your trips over here, we'll do this, and then we'll either go over. Yeah, that's what we should do is do a podcast and then leave from here and go over to Lock, Stock. It's not that far.
Right.
But anyway, we go walking in there and we do our orders. And I get down to the end to pay, and I look over in the corner, and I see three gentlemen sitting there, and I recognize them right away. And Gary's sitting there, and I waved at him, and he kind of looked at me and I looked away, and then his brother Jeff said, "Gary, I think that guy knows you or knows us." And then I walked over to the table, and I realized the other one was Chris, and it was all three of the Combine brothers.
Oh, wow.
And they were laughing because I guess just as I had walked up, they had just been having a conversation about karaoke in the old days of Combine Brothers.
Oh, well, that was a big night for
that was when they
back in
first
the day.
Opened up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That place was insane.
Yeah.
And those guys are just a hoot. So, yeah, there was a song on inside Lock, Stock, and Barrel, Knock on Wood. And it reminded them of the karaoke days, and they started, I wonder where Dane is. And I went,
and then you walk in.
There I was.
Jeez, that's
so
weird.
I've kind of got the backstory on them. I explained to them what's going on with the podcast and everything, and they've already, immediately, they're like, we want to do it. We want to. So I'm going to have them over.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Did you ever do Combines?
Did you ever fill in? No, I never did, but I did go there once.
I remember classic Craig. Craig did.
Yeah, Craig did it for a while. Yeah,
but
that was never one of my. I was all Quaker Steak and Lube. Yeah, that was the golden ticket.
So you're moving on and flashing back.
Yeah,
is what I put on.
Weird, like a full circle type thing. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I start there next Friday, 10 to 2. It's going to be. I think it's going to be good. I'm feeling really good about it.
Well, when you brought up Tiger's Table and you said that a lot of people from back in the day.
Oh, my God. You want to talk about reminiscing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of reminiscing that first gig at the Tiger's Table.
So I got a feeling the Towies ought to be the same.
And they're all excited about me coming back too already.
Get several singers that are going to come up and want to sing Grease, and you'll find out that that you dated their grandmother back in the day, and they have that little Simply Ed kind of hairdo.
Well, I had a guy
swinging
show
a
up.
golf club.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I had a guy show up at JR's who I haven't seen in decades, who used to come to my shows back when he was young. He was at JR's because his son was turning 21, and he turned 21 at one of my karaoke shows. So he brought his son and all their friends and family out to JR's on a Tuesday for his 21st birthday, and he came over and introduced his son to me, and I'm going, why are you doing this to me? I go, this is really weird.
Now you know what it feels like to be James Taylor.
Oh my God. I'm not sure if everyone gets that, but I got it. Oh man, it was
There's all
crazy.
these generations of people coming out now.
I know.
Dated their grandma, and they're bringing me their great grandbabies to kiss.
Yeah, but I had a girl the other night show me a picture of her mom. My mom said she used to come to your shows at Towie's Tavern. I go, how funny is that? I'm going back to Towie's in 2 weeks. Oh. And yeah, she showed me a picture of her mom when she was younger. And I said, I remember that girl. And this girl comes to my shows on a weekly basis. But her mom used to come to my shows.
We've got to figure out a way to research this because you have to be the longest ongoing karaoke host in the continental United States. You just have to be. I'm not talking about, piano bars. I'm talking about the machine, the karaoke machine, when it invaded this country, 1989, 1990.
I wasn't the first to do it, but
but you're the longest running.
Yeah, I have some kind of sick mental capacity to listen to off-key singing 6 nights a week for 33 years. It's a beautiful thing.
Making people happy.
You don't know. I mean, I know we talk about this all the time, but it's just the joy of people. People have so much. It's the perfect form of entertainment. I mean, I'll say this till the day I die or the day I stop doing karaoke is it's the best form of entertainment because you get the people that can perform. They can do whatever they want, however they want. Nobody boos. Everyone's having a good time, and they scream at the great singers, and they scream at the crappy singers too, because that person had the balls to come up and try to do Funky Cole Medina.
Who knows?
And it's like,
and some people do go on to be on great television shows. I guess I should just admit it or just out you now, but I mean, Trent Reznor wouldn't be who he is today if he hadn't been for Simply Ed Karaoke.
What? No.
Trent Reznor used to come, isn't that where he found his voice?
No, I don't think so. No.
Or was it Chrissy Hind?
No, it wasn't them either. Stop it.
Okay.
Even though I did run sound for Trent Reznor when he was in a band called The Urge back in the Youngstown arcade days.
Ran across an old video of theirs on Instagram a few weeks ago.
The Urge?
The Urge.
No way.
Yeah, with the guys all in the 80s clothes and like the pink jackets and the sleeves are up and everything, and then the camera pans back into the corner where the keyboard player is, and there's a dude in a black leather coat, Trent's black hair.
Well, there's this idea floating around because my wife is involved with JAC because she's the assistant manager at Packard Music Hall. There's this JAC thing that we have all been talking about, me and Eric Ryan and all the guys there, about maybe trying to do something this summer at the Youngstown Foundation Amphitheater where we try to reunite a bunch of old bands from the 80s, like Graphic Pink, that, like reunion shows, but not just one band, like a reunion thing.
I remember Link. The Link Brothers.
Or a band like Link. Or
there was a great funk band back in the early 80s, too, called Baby Brother.
Oh, God, Baby Brother. And there's, Chain Reaction. And that's the band I ran, the first band I ever ran sound for. They were one of the best funk disco bands in the area.
Yeah.
Back in 79, 80, 81 before I went to college.
And, of course, the Fabulous Flashbacks.
Well, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
No, never mind. We're talking. They've been doing reunion stuff. We're talking about pulling nuggets out of the golden kettle of coins that have been in this area that you haven't heard.
Almost to have like some sort of a nucleus of a band and be able to bring people back that were key.
That could be an idea too.
Jack Riblet, who I knew back in the day, back in my radio career, is over there, Youngstown Music something on Facebook.
Right. He
was one of our karaoke singers.
Yes,
he used to come out. I think he used to do Hello, It's Me. How do I remember this stuff?
I totally remember it.
Jack is just a wealth of
absolutely
knowledge.
Unbelievable.
Probably one of the best.
His Facebook page has got a list of every band that's ever been performed in this area. He's got it alphabetically listed, and he's always looking for people to add to it. It's like a public forum type thing.
Special Forces, which I guess was more of a 90s band, but still.
Yeah. No, but no, there's a lot of them out there. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but who knows?
Is that the idea that you were telling me about when we were talking?
No. Oh, no.
Okay, good. I was.
No, the other, we can't talk about that one because I don't want to jinx that one yet.
I'm excited, though. My mind is all aflutter with ideas of what you could be up to.
Oh, it's something I've wanted to do for 3 years, and
it's not a golf outing.
It's not. I'm done with those.
Okay.
Those are mentally and physically exhausting to pull off.
The next time we do a golf outing, we put your name on it and we have somebody else do it.
And I just show up and golf.
You just show up.
Oh, that'd be great.
And then you hand out the awards.
Oh, that's great. I'm all about that.
Some of our old CD106 golf outings were interesting.
There were
always dancers, professional dancers.
Why you're going to
golf.
actually bring that up on this podcast?
Why not? It was part of my life.
Oh my God! Yeah, professional dancers.
Yeah, they were professional entertainers.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
and did they entertain?
They were appropriately placed at certain holes.
Yes, and there were a lot of hole placements going on in that.
Lots
golf
of hole
outing.
placements back in those days.
Lord.
That's how you do a golf outing.
Golf is sexy.
It was then. Actually, I stayed as far away from that stuff. I did. My poor Protestant parents, I was already putting them through enough.
Yeah.
So.
I know. Very good.
My friend Daryl still talks about me eating lube jelly on a bagel.
Ooh.
In my radio days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We used to have one of those Spice of Life people that used to come on the air with us and bring all their toys and trinkets and stuff.
I remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was doing some stuff with them at the Salty Grog on Wednesday nights. We tried to do a ladies' night where they set up a table.
You understand?
I was giving away dildos and vibrators during the show.
It was fantastic. Do you remember that was actually my creation? I did with the broadcast. I did that with Y103.
Right. I remember.
And a Hot 101. We did Working Women's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it would bring in a palm reader or
Yeah. Good times.
Those were good times.
Great times.
We'll sidebar.
Okay.
Later on the story about the battery operated cylindrical devices.
Okay, we will.
But anyway, my buddy Daryl still laughs because she was on the air with us one day and she had all these different, flavored lubes.
Okay.
And so I just squeezed the tube out on top of a bagel and ate it.
Oh, Dana. See,
it's a TMI.
No,
way too much reminiscing.
No, it's not. I think it's just like the guy in that infomercial that sprays that stuff in his mouth that's supposed to take away pet odors, but it's all natural and he sprays it in his mouth. I go, what are you doing?
Wasn't that a Greek movie about you just spray?
That's Windex.
It's Windex. Oh, did I get the evil eye?
The Windex.
I got the Tenthalophilus.
Listen,
look.
that Windex thing goes back. That is not bullshit. That is a Greek thing. These old papoos back in the day thought Windex fixed everything. Spray it on a bug bite. Spray it on yeah.
It's a disinfectant.
Yeah, they did not make that up in that movie.
It's not much different, I guess, than pouring, red eye on a snake bite.
There you go. Why not?
I was explaining to Beth Ann the other day. I was hanging out with my buddy, the coroner, because I like to wear that like an accomplishment in my life. My friend, the coroner. And we were talking about somebody he knew had a cut.
Okay.
And what was the best way? And was the cut? They were sending pictures of the cut. Do I need to go get stitches?
Sure.
And I looked at the cut and I said, no, it's crazy glue.
Right.
And he goes, I agree with you. Crazy glue. And Beth Ann she goes, what? Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all about the crazy glue cut closing.
I've stitched myself a couple of times and I've crazy glued myself.
Oh, yeah.
Way more than I can remember.
I mean, when I used to be in my fanny pack days, back in my sound engineering days, there was crazy glue. My little gig.
Always have crazy glue in the gig bag.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Duct tape and a Sharpie.
I'm still that way. I think over on the tape, you look over there, you'll find duct tape and a Sharpie next to each other.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Same as to this day.
Yeah,
I know.
Always a Sharpie in the car.
That's right.
Always.
If not, just to sniff it for a few minutes.
So karaoke shows now. So let's get back to where you are. So we still have our Tuesday nights at JR's.
Yep.
By the way, I've been keeping an eye on that little big band thing that they do once a month.
Oh, my God.
I've got to come over.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
That big band thing they do the first Monday of every month from 7 to 9.
I haven't
It's
seen.
fantastic.
And I haven't seen our friend JR
Yeah.
in forever.
Who drums in every possible music genre known to man.
Two of the greatest drummers to come out of Youngstown, him and Bernie Dressel.
I'm telling you, he's insane. He never stops working. He's drumming with so many different bands, I can't even keep him straight.
Yeah.
It's
Love
nuts.
Talk about
but he's so talented.
The iconic working musician.
Oh, he is.
So
the poster
JR's
boy.
karaoke on Tuesday nights. Wednesday night you're at Club Switch.
Yep.
This week you're doing a special Saturday night. That's going to be the 27th.
Yeah, this Saturday in 2 days. Yeah, pop up at the old Club Switch. We're going to try Saturday night just for kicks and giggles.
Yeah, and then so then Cracker Jacks on
Thursday. Yeah,
and then you start,
which is going very well, by the way.
On February 2nd. You start the new gig.
Yeah, my final night at the Ice House is this Friday. It's going to be sentimental. But I talked to the manager there. She and Trish and I have known each other for years, and I had a long conversation with her on Tuesday, and she understood the reasons why I'm leaving, and she understood and wished me the best, and everything fell together the following day with the new gig. Because the feelers were out, and I didn't want to. I had a bunch of interest. I had 3 different bars actually contact me about my Friday, and this is the one I chose to go with on Wednesday. And I talked to the management there, and Jennifer's seems they're very excited, and that kind of enthusiasm is infectious.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Saturday nights now. You still doing every other?
Yep, every other at Double Bogies, and then I'm going to be the first Saturday of February. I'll be back at the Tigers Table, and then the other Saturday in February I am taking off because that's when I'm going down to the Chocolate Wine and Whiskey Festival at Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh.
So how's abstaining from Texas Hold'em been?
I have not played poker yet.
You're still.
I'm still off the. I'm still on the poker wagon.
So this trip is still the brass ring.
Oh yeah,
you're on the merry-go-round, going round and round.
I will be. I am going to play poker that night. I've been putting quarters in a jar. Been saving my loose change. But. Yeah, I'm still on the poker wagon. I stopped in there the other day. I was in the neighborhood. I had to go to the vape shop around the block, and I walked in there, and they all looked at me and go, "Oh my God, where have you been?" Blah blah blah. And I said,
"Did you get itchy?"
You know what? I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to walk in to see how itchy I would get. And I was very proud of myself because I didn't get as itchy as I thought. I mean, it was you still feel that little rush when you hear the chips. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I did good. I hung out for about 20 minutes, bullshitted with some of the guys. There was a nice cash game going. And I knew most of the guys at the table because I played with them before. And, I told them the story about my car accident that I just had.
You had a car accident?
Yes. Okay. Can I tell you very quick?
No, right. You've got all the time in the world.
As you know, my wife is the assistant manager at Packard Music Hall. Last week,
my friend's the coroner.
There you go. And my if you remember the R&B group Shy from the
yes.
And then Genuine.
Oh yeah, Genuine. Yes,
they performed at Packard last week.
Yes.
So I got a phone call from my wife while she was at work and said, "Listen, tomorrow we need someone to go pick up Shy at the Cleveland airport. And you can use Joe's SUV, her boss's, because my van is not passenger appropriate."
Dude, you're picking up Shy.
Because I'm picking up Shy.
Sure.
My beat-up Dodge Caravan is not Shy-worthy.
You need appropriate vehicle digs.
Yeah, so I go, and the weather's kind of crappy, but I pick up Shy. They're great. We have a blast bullshitting in the car on the way. I take them all the way to their hotel at the Hampton in front of the Eastwood Mall. I dropped them off. Perfectly normal, lots of traffic. I drove great, got them there safely. And my wife texts me and says, Ed, can you stop at the house, let the dogs out before you bring Joe's car back and grab a battery for my vape? And because I forgot to bring a backup. And I said, okay, so because I live a mile from the Eastwood Mall. So I go up the hill, pull into my driveway. I go up my driveway, and we had all that ice and snow that last week, and I didn't shovel my driveway because it was only about an inch or so of snow, and so I didn't care, just drive over it. And I come up to my top of my driveway, and it flattens out, and I go to hit the brakes on Joe's SUV, and I didn't realize there was that much ice underneath the patch of snow right at the end of my driveway, because I never parked there because I just usually pull into my garage. So I hit that patch of ice, I hit the brakes, and the car slid and ran right into my basketball pole on my basketball hoop.
Yeah, and it's permanent.
It's a permanent.
Yeah.
It's one of those 4-inch thick cast metal, and I basically destroyed his front end in my driveway.
And it's no longer shy appropriate.
It is not. Another vehicle was used to take him back to the airport.
Were you the driver?
I was not. It probably will never be again.
I think I told this in like our first podcast, but I'm going to tell it again. My rock and roll chauffeur story. The Nyabingi in Youngstown.
I remember.
Back in the day. Remember that?
Yeah.
Back in the 90s.
Absolutely.
So I get into work to do our afternoon show. By this time, Bob and Tom was on in the morning, I think, if I remember correctly, and we're doing our afternoon show. And what came up on our production list or whatever, who we were interviewing that day was Train.
Okay.
The band Train, Pat Monahan, and the band. And they're playing that evening at the Nyabingi. And so it's the afternoon show, and I had a specific time. Well, they charged me with taking the station van and going down and picking up the band to bring them back to the studio to perform whatever. Well, the song... what was the first song?
Drops of Jupiter?
It wasn't Drops of Jupiter. It was the...
Hey, Soul Sister, Drive By, Shake Up Christmas 50 Ways to Say Goodbye.
No, it was the one with chicken. I always remembers in the Meet Virginia.
Oh, Meet Virginia. Okay, that was the first hit.
So the first hit they had was Meet Virginia. And it had just dropped, and it had gone crazy. So they're actually about to get yanked off of the tour that they're doing and go to a whole new level. But I showed up that afternoon in the station van, the Wolfwagon, and picked them up. And they come walking out, and I open up the side door. We have no other seats. There was a driver's seat and a passenger seat.
What?
Yes.
You picked up Train in a cargo van?
And I picked them up with the Wolfwagon. It wasn't a cargo van. It was the Wolfwagon.
Okay.
It had shag carpet in it.
Well, please.
I picked them up. They look at this. They do not want to get in it. And I'm sorry. And it's like, well, can't you get another vehicle? And it's like, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm just doing my job.
Sure.
They weren't happy, but they crawled in. They crawled in with a couple guitars and drum cases.
Jeez.
Drove to the radio station. They got on the air, did their interview, did Meet Virginia, and it was great acoustic, in the studio, one of those moments. And in between the interview, I'm standing out in the hallway at this point, and Pat Monahan, the lead singer, comes out, and he says, "Hey, can I talk to you just for a minute? Can I pull you aside?" He pulls me aside. He says, listen, he goes, we've been out here on the road. And we're working our butts off, and, it's dangerous. And we're all serious about this. We're all trying to make a living. And our song just dropped this week. And we're really, really nervous. Is there any way, I'm not trying to be a dick, but is there any way you could get us a van with seats in it?
I think that's an appropriate question.
Nope. Loaded them up. And it had nothing to do with me.
Right, I understand.
I mean, that's management's responsibility.
That's right.
But I remember they were good sports about it. I would love, after all these years, I would love to have a conversation someday with Pat Monahan just to see. He has to remember that after.
Oh, he would have to.
Because it was the week the song dropped.
Right. He would have to remember that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So there's my rock and roll chauffeur story.
There you go.
You wrecked the vehicle.
Thank
I
God
don't
they weren't in
provide.
it. Thank God they weren't in it.
All right, my friend.
Sounds great.
I think we'll just leave it here because
Perfect.
Daryl has enjoyed listening to this program.
Hi,
and
Daryl.
He never in a million years thought he would like listening to somebody talk about karaoke, but he's kind of reliving it all through us.
Thanks for being a good listener.
Yes. This is all for you, Daryl.
God bless.
Terry, leave him alone.
The Penn, Ohio Backyard Bungalow Radio Show, brought to you by G&J Fencing.